Yo, come on, son. Nah, son. Listen. When I agreed to do this podcast, there was nothing in the contract about wigs, son. Come on, son. Hey, listen.
Hey.
Listen. Nah.
Hand me one of them guitars.
Nah, son.
Hand me one of those guitars.
You see what I'm talking about? You see what I gotta deal with? See? Come on, son.
Yeah.
Come on, son.
There we go. We going live tonight. Matter of fact, I know we ain't got no sponsorship, but Red Stripe will go on tonight. We got Guinness too, so.
Yeah, I just want to rap, son.
Catch this. Got it? Oh, come on, you gotta put the wig on. Come on.
I'm trying.
Put the wig on, Steve. Come on.
Come on, son. See what they do for views.
What type of nonsense is this? Hey, you got to grab the guitar too.
See, that's what I be talking about.
We gonna play a little melody for you guys tonight.
This is what I'm talking about. See,
to introduce y'all, so let me start. This is gonna be your introduction to the All Shapes and Sizes podcast. I am your host.
Man.
I am your host.
Namrung Yang King Yo.
Namrung King Yo.
However that
AKA
goes.
Disco. Better known as Cousin Deck. Stir. Sexy. Deck. And Disco.
Yeah, this shit.
And I have my co-host with me tonight, the one and only.
Yo, listen here.
Let them know who you are.
This gonna end before it even gets started. I'm trying to tell you right now. I'm not.
S.TV.
Yo, listen. Shout out to y'all. It's good
Steve.
being here. I came here to talk. You know what I'm saying? That's all I want to do. I want to come here and talk. The man handed me a guitar and some I don't know, somebody wig.
Listen.
From the 70s.
Listen.
What's up?
This is gonna be the vibe.
I
bring it
hear
on
you.
some Jimi Hendrix.
Yo, I hear
we bring it. Listen.
No,
I
rate Jimi
it
Hendrix. I rate Jimi Hendrix.
All right then.
I rate Jimi Hendrix.
So we talking about quality, classic, origination music.
Okay.
Rock and roll. We talking.
Okay.
We talking about the. I didn't have a bandana.
Yeah,
if I had a bandana on, I'd be right.
Here's my problem. As soon as you put your fingers on them strings, it sound like, you know what I'm saying, Angela Bassett in What's Love Got to Do With It. So I'm not sure if we doing the right thing. You get what I'm saying?
Did I tell you that I used to play in elementary the cello? I used to do a piccolo style like this.
I thought it was
for those that played the instrument,
xylophone.
the string instrument, the cello or the viola. No, I played the viola. I think it was.
Stop lying. You played
You
the triangle.
put it up like this.
He played the triangle.
This is called, I think, piccolo.
Something
like that.
Only piccolo I know is on Dragon Ball Z. I don't know nothing about nothing else. I don't know nothing else.
All right. You guys, so first of all, let me say this. Welcome to the All Shapes and Sizes podcast.
Man, if you don't go ahead with this.
I am your host, Disco.
Okay.
And I got my boy with me,
Mr.
S.
S_TV on all platforms.
TV all platforms.
Listen here. Damn this wig, son. Damn this wig. Let's get down to business.
All right.
Let's get down to business. Shout out to y'all.
That was hot.
Appreciate y'all tuning in.
Hot.
Comment, and subscribe. See, that's what wigs do, though.
There it is.
You know what I'm saying?
Like Steve just said, like, comment, and subscribe.
Hit that notification button.
Hit the notification button.
Shout out to y'all.
Once again, this is the All Shapes and Sizes podcast. Oh, I ain't got my headphones on. I can't hear nothing.
See?
All right, I'm tuned in now.
See?
Okay, so.
All that wig work. Trying to tell you.
So listen, so we're going to kick it off this way. This is episode 1 of All Shapes and Sizes. Once again, I'm your host, Disco Deck. Co-host, S.TV, my man Steve. And we've been kind of sprinkling out, Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, kind of sprinkling out little drops leading up to today's episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
And,
just putting some stuff out there, trying to get a little feedback, see what people think about us doing a podcast, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
It'll be a little bit, if I'm correct, Steve, a little different structure than what people might be normally used to.
Oh, we here to get it popping. There ain't no structure.
Yeah.
Let's
There it is.
Let's put it out there. There's some
less.
structure that the structure is there is no structure, right? We're going to talk about whatever we want to talk about. We're going to talk about what you guys want to talk about, right? You guys can always hit us up. Let us know what subjects you think is important, and we're going to talk about it, right?
I'm going to turn this around because we ain't getting no sponsorship from Red Stripe yet, so
yeah, no,
we can't give them all that.
That's what she
That love,
tried to tell you. All right, let's
So,
get down to business.
hold on, before we go for others, I'm going to start this off by this, Steve. We recently had a death in the family.
Facts.
My cousin, family with Steve, me and Steve, been growing up, same street, lived together. He's like a younger brother to me since little kids. Shout out, sleep in peace to the late great Trevor Cumberbatch. Feel good, good worth, mean shoe game, good, all-star, many different names. Lost his life tragically. Was murdered, assassinated about 2 weeks ago. Stuff is still in the claw, but part of the reason why we kicking this off this week is in his honor. One thing about those that knew Cousin Trev Feel Good, Cuzzo, knew it was about winning. About pushing. He pushed me at this 24/7. A portion of what we're going to do within this podcast was something that after pitching the idea to him and kind of going over what me and Steve already started kicking off, he gave me some, he said, yo, y'all got to do this. And it was like already the thing we were looking for. We were looking for a component that would separate us from other podcasts. And you guys will feel it, and you guys might see it as it comes through. But that was definitely given to us, that gem by Cousin Trev.
That's a fact.
Right? So I just wanted to say that and start it off.
Yo, sleep in peace, bro.
There it is. Say less. Salute. Cousin B.U.B. too. Lost him 20 years ago,
That's a fact.
So we're gonna take a sip. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a sip. We're in the studio, so we can't pour nothing out. So we're gonna take a sip. So Steve, let's today, let's do this.
So how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling energetic right now. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Funerals passed. My family's doing good.
Good.
Everybody's getting back into some type of normality right now.
Yep.
And we're trying to just adjust.
Mm-hmm.
This is different. Cousin was energy, positive energy. Anybody that knew him, and we're just trying to get back in the flow of things.
Okay.
And get back to some type of normality. So today is, I wouldn't say kind of, me and you already talked about this. We got to keep it pushing. We got to keep winning.
That's a fact.
So with that, today is November the 10th.
Mm-hmm.
For those that don't know and ain't been sleeping under a rock, the election has finally conceded.
No, let's back up a second. It hasn't been conceded.
Okay,
it hasn't been conceded.
Glad you said that.
It's been called. Mm-hmm. We have a president-elect in Joe Biden and a vice president-elect in Kamala Harris.
There we go. Thank you.
The first female and the first black vice president in these United States of America. So with that being said, I'm glad you brought that, Steve. So this is one thing I want to touch on. This election here was an election that was probably the most controversial election in our time, probably of all time. We had a couple different things going on with this election. We had a form of a tyrant at the wheel in the United States, which called to action a lot of individuals to really do something that wasn't done in the past. We had a lot of people that never voted that came out to vote. Mm-hmm. It's it happened in the midst of, let's say, a pandemic in the United States, COVID-19. This also happened during the height of Black Lives Matter in the death of George Floyd. So there's a lot of components that went in here. This is a time when you even had Republicans disassociating themselves from that party. So we got all those things mixed up in that same pool and spent off, let's say, in this whole which Republicans?
Yeah.
Because the Republicans that
speak on it.
Well, it's like in any state. Your constituents are going to drive the things that you back or you don't back. So as you see right now, you have a lot of Republicans not coming out telling Donald Trump to concede because they're political careers are still tied to Donald Trump.
Correct.
Right. Just like in some of those more liberal states where you may have a Republican senator or a Republican representative somewhere, they may take a different stance, right? They may not publicly come out and diss Trump, but they're not supporting him either, right?
Correct. But the point I was getting at is that this was an election where we had a lot of Republicans that came out extremely vocal, that took a stance, that showed that they weren't really for Trump. I'm not saying that we know the ones that actually still was rocking with him.
Before or after they knew he lost?
Before. I'm talking about ones that actually were against Trump.
Oh, we're not talking about the politicians. We're talking about the voters.
Oh, no. Okay. So the voters. Oh, okay. Different point. I was referring to the politicians.
Okay,
I was talking about those the politicians, I didn't make sure they were vocal, saying that we're not going this way, and we can go all the way back to the ironic the McCains and the W. Bushes and those different people. Yeah, that's what I was referring to.
Yeah,
you're right in regards to the voters.
I think the ones that came out against him have always sort of, like Mitt Romney, for example, right? Always been a critic against Trump, right?
Yeah.
Because he's not tied to Trump, whereas everyone else isn't. So there are a couple of prominent, or not prominent, but well-known Republicans who have jumped out the window like that. But they've jumped out a window when their careers are no longer tied to him. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? So, okay, I'm not getting reelected in my state again. Oh, I'm going to come out and I'm going to talk out against Trump. Trump didn't get me elected, so I don't have to adhere or bow down to him like other Republicans do. So, again, in the same vein, you look at it now, it's quite clear that he's going to lose. And he's probably going to lose very badly. Georgia right now is very close, so there's definitely going to be a recount in Georgia. But history has shown that recounts don't do nothing but change a couple hundred votes.
So let's say this.
Yeah.
And what Steve is speaking to is, we know for the most part, from what we understand right now, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have actually won. Yeah. But from a data standpoint, everything still needs to be completely vetted out going forward.
Each state needs to confirm the results.
Correct.
Right?
Okay. So
go ahead.
I want to go somewhere.
Yep.
Georgia and the African American votes that came out that kind of swung this election to some degree, as people state. Don't know how factual this is, but the speculation is that the turnout of African American voters, mail-in people that voted through mail-in ballots or whatever you want to call it, helped kind of swing this election. That's why initially there were two different visuals. But Trump was winning at the day one. By day two, when they started counting them other votes, it started to swing.
Well,
what is your? I'm going to give you this. What is your thought behind the power of the vote? Because remember, and I'm saying this, and I want you to answer from this standpoint. Remember, everybody was talking. You had people saying, "Hold the vote," and these are black people.
Yep.
Hold the vote for hostage.
Yep.
Don't vote.
Yep.
Joe Biden ain't doing nothing for the black people. He hasn't shown us anything. Trump is doing this. There was so much of that going on. And what we saying was, we did see an amazing turnout from minorities in this particular election. What's your thoughts behind that, and how do you feel from places like Atlanta that helped push it? You know, Connecticut, where we're at, that's guaranteed. That was already a no-brainer. We Democratic, those electoral votes were going there. Speak upon your feelings in regards to those turnouts from those other areas from a minority standpoint, and then after that, let's segue into the understanding of the electoral college and those votes there. Okay. Let's talk about that.
All right. So, okay, where to begin? I will say this. I feel like more people voted against Donald Trump than they did vote for Joe Biden.
Okay.
Right?
Fully agree. Fully agree.
With that being said, you look at places like Wisconsin, right? You look at places like Michigan. You look at places like Pennsylvania. These are states that Trump won last time go around, right? In 2016. One of the reasons is, Hillary wasn't maybe very liked. Barack Obama wasn't on the ticket. So what you had is you had places like Detroit that in Barack's time came out and won him the state. right, won him Michigan, to turn around and not come out in 2016 and Trump wins Michigan. So the battleground states have been Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania,
Arizona,
Nevada, and Georgia, right?
Don't y'all be looking at my password.
Ohio and all of that. They're always similar, right? Those states are always the ones in question. They can swing either way. And it all depends on how much of the electorate is going to actually come out and vote, right?
Okay, yep.
And so my point, so to your point of asking, well, what about this whole hold our vote thing? I don't think it was ever we need to not vote. I think it was more of we need to hold our vote for Biden to tell us what he's going to do with our community.
So
right?
I have a problem with that. So let me tell you.
But let me finish. Yeah.
But hold on, before you finish, I'm telling you what my problem is with that right there.
Go ahead.
You have people like Charlemagne,
yup,
and different people coming out, and even Puff Daddy, which he retracted his statement on that, saying, "Hold our vote."
Yeah.
Biden doesn't have a plan for us. We're not just giving our vote to people. This and third.
Yeah.
My problem was this: when you have a tyrant, or you got somebody to the level of what Donald Trump is, and the rhetoric that he's pushing out there, I didn't feel we were at a position to turn around and hold our vote, because the worst case scenario is we'll get more of the fuckery or what's going on with Donald Trump out there by turning around and supporting and getting behind the Biden and Harris movement. What we did was we allowed ourselves to say, regardless, we're going to get the trash out. We don't know. We know this individual is not perfect, but we know how bad this is. We know the worst case scenario. So holding the vote to me never made any sense, because, and I'll go somewhere else with it. I do not believe that we should ever be in a position where we're telling another person out of our community, white, I don't care what race, out of our community, what plan do you have for us in our community? That's something that we need to develop, formulate, put together, and present and say, hey, we need you to back this plan. Not what, no, we don't need a plan. Us, he can't give us a plan. He needs to support whatever plan we put there. So to turn around and hold our vote from a person that can be a vehicle to push what we need, to me made no sense.
I think you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. I'm not saying that Biden is the one that needs to come up with the plan. What I'm saying is we as a people, black people, may not agree on an agenda that has like a top 10 agenda for us, right? We may not all agree on what should be in the top 5 or whatever it is. But for the most part, we're all on the same page on what needs to change. We need economic change, right? We need education, right? Housing, or home ownership, rather, right? We can agree on a lot of different things. So the question becomes, when it comes to our vote, are we just going to be a part of this tribe where just because we're black, we're going to vote Democratic, to which now our vote is taken for granted. So then when we're asking these politicians or we're putting people in office and expecting them to do things and they don't do them, and then that now takes the average voter who might say, you know what, my vote doesn't count because when I try and vote, it doesn't change anything. My point being is, all I heard from at the time that Charlemagne and Puff came out and said we should hold our vote, all I heard from Biden at that point was everything that Trump wasn't. And again, when people jumped up and said, well, what are you specifically going to do for the black community? It's not for you to set the agenda. The agenda has already been set. People have already spoken on what the needs are. The needs are not something that we don't know. So what are you actually going to do for us? You didn't have a plan. So to me, it's hold the vote until you can actually speak to what it is that you're going to do for us. And I'll give you an example. And I don't mean to keep going on. But when you look at last year or last election, all I hear on the news is how in 2016, suburban white women is the reason why we lost the election, or we Democrats lost the election. No one is talking about the fact that nobody came out in Detroit. Nobody came out in Philly. Nobody came out in Michigan. Nobody came out in Wisconsin, right?
Which
Nobody can't. Nobody.
Wait, hold on.
Hold
Which
on.
is apparent right now.
No.
I'm supporting your point. I'm to your point. No, I'm getting at your point. I'm agreeing with your point, which this election has shown that it is people not coming out that really which control it.
and that's wrong.
You don't think that people coming out was the problem with the last election? The
No,
lack
I'm
of people?
saying no. What I'm saying is not that didn't just become apparent now. It was apparent then.
No.
Because
Okay.
you had the numbers
Okay, let
then
me
to
say this.
show that we didn't show up.
Okay, I agree. What I'm saying is, for those that didn't think that, it's apparent to them now. They thought it was the white woman vote. Now is apparent to them is that the people didn't come out. So I agree with you saying that was the case back then. But some of them, were blinded.
But
and
here's
they
my
thought
point.
It was something different.
I don't
That's
think.
the point I'm getting
But
at.
my thing is I don't think it's a blind thing. I think it's a narrative thing. It's what narrative are you painting, right? So I'll give you example. I was watching most of the channels. I watch Fox. I watch CNN. I watch MSNBC.
Hold on.
Right?
Gotta
I watch
watch
all
Fox.
of them.
Hold on,
right?
let me speak to that real fast. For those that pay attention and stay engaged with these politics and stuff, please don't only watch the CNNs or the Democratic type of viewpoint news, media and broadcast. You gotta watch the other side, man, to get a whole picture and understand what's going on. Tune into Fox, man. You gotta see. It's like understanding what the enemy's doing. We ain't gonna call them the enemy, but we gonna say that. You gotta see the whole picture, man. Y'all stop being pigeonholed in tunnel vision and looking from one lens. Understand the whole picture holistically. So continue on. I just wanted to.
Yeah, again, I'm not
get stuck sometimes.
Yeah, I'm not an expert. I'm just my opinion, right? Yeah. So my thing is I'm watching it and they start talking about Florida, right?
Okay.
And the Cuban vote in Florida. Then they start talking about the Hispanic vote out in Arizona, right? And this is before when they weren't sure whether or not we were going to win Pennsylvania, right? We were coming up in Detroit, but we hadn't overtaken yet, right? But they were talking about the vote and how we were starting to overtake, how we were leading in Arizona, and they were just talking as if the Hispanic vote, and there's nothing wrong with it because the Hispanic vote did win Arizona for Joe Biden. There's nothing wrong with talking about that. But they were talking about it almost in a vein of, this is the reason why Joe Biden is going to win, right? Then we win Detroit. Detroit votes start rolling in. Okay, we win Michigan. We win Wisconsin. We win Pennsylvania. We win Georgia. Where are the votes coming from in these states to where we win? Because if you go and you look at the map, it's all red, right? But we know that the population centers are in the cities.
Correct.
And who are in these cities? Minorities are in these cities, right? Black and Hispanic. Let's not parse, but majority is black.
Correct.
So because of the overwhelming evidence of what happened in Wisconsin, Michigan, Philadelphia, and Georgia, especially what's going on in Atlanta, they have no choice but to say, yo, we're the reason why you won.
Correct.
They have no choice.
All right, so let me go somewhere else.
But if they had a choice...
Okay, so let me go somewhere else with it.
All right, go ahead.
Let's step back. Let's go back to Obama.
Yeah.
His term. Mm-hmm. And how some minorities came out. And I know if you heard it, me and you polyed on this several times.
Yep.
How some minorities felt that. And I think you had a story. I want you to share your story with the actual viewers.
The barbershop story.
The barbershop story.
Yeah.
And how a lot of minorities feel that Obama did not do anything during his 8 years in office for the black people. And before you go, I just want to say to Steve, please pay attention, you guys, because this is something that us as people, we have to make sure that we pay attention to politics, especially when it comes to this election and who's in office, not just during those months leading up to the election and then after the election, prior to the next election. Pay attention to what takes place during someone's terms, what they're pushing forward, the roadblocks that are there, what takes place. And, you got to stay engaged, not just before the election. You got to stay engaged all 4 years prior. So I just wanted to put that out there because, a lot of times people, they get heavy on this politics now. Look, a lot of people talking politics right now due to this election. January 1st, this is going to be off the table for them for the next 4 years. And then we're going to hear it again at the end of 4 years, like what happened. Instead of staying engaged right now and understanding the topics, the issues, what's going on, the challenges.
That's a fact.
Keeping the pressure on. Though we have Biden in office right now, we got to still keep the pressure on. He still has to be accountable for everything that we expect out of him. So I just want to make sure that's understood. Stay engaged.
Yeah.
Our people, our minorities.
So
let's get on that.
So I'm not necessarily an Obama defender. I'm just objective, right? So I'm in the barbershop and we're having, barbershop talk. We're having a conversation. We're talking about sports. We're talking about the election, X, Y, and Z. And somebody is like, well, why is it that Trump has done more for us than Obama has? And
this is their opinion.
Right? And the example that they give is the funding of the black historical black colleges, of the HBCUs, right? So I don't like to necessarily get into the weeds with people when it comes to certain politics or their beliefs in politics and stuff like that. I just like to go with the logic. But he likes
to chop it up, though.
Yeah,
don't get it twizzled.
I'll have no problem debating logic with you, right? So what he says to me is, he says that Trump funded historical black colleges. They're now federally funded. We don't have to worry about them ever going away because of financial issues, right? I'm not arguing that. I'm not arguing that at all. Right?
Not arguing that at all.
That's how you understand what Trump did? Okay, fine. So I asked him a question.
That's how you understand.
I asked him a question. I said, well, how does that help your child? He said, well, that college is now going to be there for me, for my child to possibly go to. I said, well, your child first has to get accepted, right? He said, yes.
Still got to go through the protocol.
I said, do you have to pay for that college, or is that college free? He said, I don't know. I said, okay, but you're saying that he did something for us. Yeah, we created those HBCUs and he made sure that they're fully funded. But I said, okay, I understand that, but I'm saying, how does that help you? I know how that helps the university. I know how that helps. Did the universities cut cost? Did they cut the tuition? Did they cut room and board? Like what did they do now that they are fully funded as you understand it? He says, I don't know. And he starts asking me about
something before you say something.
And he starts asking me about other colleges and whether or not they're federally funded or not.
Okay.
And I said, okay, that's not my argument to you, right? I'm not here to talk about other colleges. I'm here to talk about your point and why you think Trump did more for black people. He didn't bring up the prison reform, right? He didn't bring that up. So I didn't bring it up. I didn't talk because I'm only talking to you about how he feels. And I said, what do you do? He says, I work, he works where he works.
Barbershop.
Do you have insurance? Yeah, I have insurance. Where? From where? Because you're your own employer. If anybody doesn't know how barbershops work, a barber is their
independent
own employer,
contractor.
Right? They're independent contractor. And don't get me wrong, I respect him to the highest. We're just having a debate and having a conversation. And I'm saying
So the question was just
it's just
say as possible.
Yeah, no disrespect at all. And so my point being is okay, well, you have insurance, you have something that takes care of your kids. And I'm like, well, one of the things that affects us as minorities, as black people, is the lack of health care.
Correct.
Right? Obamacare is there for us.
I was just about to say that. Obamacare.
To which he retorts, that's for everybody. I'm specifically... Hold on, wait. What he's saying is he's specifically talking about something for black people.
My problem is this. Even with that, I'm glad you said that. Who benefits the most from Obamacare?
That's the point that I was trying to get to.
Yeah, because the minority we benefit the most.
We live in a I think that the expectations, because Barack Obama was black, were that of someone who was gonna come in there and just do everything for black people. So and because he didn't slap black people as a name on everything that he did, people assume that we didn't benefit from some of the policies and stuff that he put forth.
I'm glad you brought.
Don't get me wrong. Hold on, I need to say this piece. Don't get me wrong. There are there are plenty of policies that were enacted while he was in president that didn't help us. But when you start to automatically label him as somebody who did nothing for us, to me it comes across as that slave mentality of, oh, he the house nigga, or just because he's black and he's in a position of success, he must be down with the Illuminati, or he must have done something. I can't argue against that.
This makes no sense to me.
Go ahead.
We get our first black president in the United States.
Yeah.
He comes out there to show his competency as a leader of the world, not the leader of black people.
That's a fact.
And a lot of minorities,
that's a fact,
we don't understand, or let's say some of the minorities don't understand this. If Obama would have came into office with this whole big, this is for black people, that's for black people,
yep,
what would that have shown? He's not for the people. They would have used that to basically tarnish every bit of anything he did and said, he only came in here to be for his people, this, that, and third here. He doesn't show any competency that he can rule for everyone. Obama, in my opinion, showed that, first and foremost, I'm going to show you my competency, my ability to lead this country as a whole and everyone. And then the second part is that there are a lot of people, once again, that your barber, not saying him for directly, but there's a lot, because I've had those same conversations. There's people that come and I politic with them on the same thing, and they tell you, he didn't do anything. He didn't do this and third here. And I say, okay, were you paying attention to his full term or 8 years? Were you paying attention to who controlled the Senate? Were you paying attention to how many things got blocked? How many things they actually were advocating for?
Yeah.
When you got to build all those things in there, so when you turn around and say that this didn't take place, make sure that you're paying attention to the whole
entire thing before you say
the whole 8 years.
What
so
he
you can
could
understand everything that
what
took
he
place
did and what he
from
couldn't
him
do.
digging us
Right.
out of the recession or where we were
Right.
at, which we already knew with the Bush that this is going to go prior to this taking place. We had conversations about this, Steve.
Yeah.
The next president that comes into office for the next 4 years to next 8 years will be digging us out just to get us to a baseline.
That's a fact.
Trump took over. For those that are confused, the work that Obama did to get us out of where we're at,
he took over a
Trump
great situation.
took over and just ran with something. The way the comedy is stimulated now, that only took place over all the work that took place over the Obama administration.
if you listen to any
people get lost with that.
If you listen to how things go, there's an understanding that whatever happens while you're in office, you take credit for.
There it is.
And whatever happened, whatever that's, whether it's good or whether it's bad, right? So Obama took the hit on the economy his first year as the president,
which he inherited,
right?
Something that he basically inherited.
Hey,
he
but
didn't create it.
But it is what it is.
It fell in his lap, and he gotta own it.
He didn't complain about it, right? He didn't complain about it. So, when it comes to mindsets of people who think that Trump did something for them, I'm not gonna tell you that that's not true. What I'm going to ask you is, I'm going to ask you to break that down for me.
There it is.
Because I need to understand why it is that you feel that way. You might teach me something, right? I'm not an expert. Correct. I just have my opinion. I try and stay abreast to everything, but I don't know everything. So you might say something to me like, you know what? I didn't know that. That's why I don't have any problems having a conversation with a Trump supporter. I want you to really tell me why you feel the way you feel about Trump, right? And then when I can pull up facts to you, if you're willing to listen to those facts, I ain't mad. I'm not mad at you that you're a Trump supporter, right? If you're willing to listen, but if you can look at the facts,
and if you're willing to bring up whatever you bring up as factual stuff on your end,
no, absolutely, it's a give and take thing, right? Correct. It's a give and take thing.
I just want to make sure that's clear. That
I love to have these conversations.
It's both ways.
Yep, I love to have the conversations.
And hold on, if you don't mind me, I just want people to understand this. And Steve, I think we on the same page. We call ourselves Black Republicans, and understand that from this standpoint, we might vote for the most part from a Republican, let's say a government election standpoint, Democratic, but deep down we are based off of those that kind of know their history. Black Republicans, a lot of us independent individuals that get out there and get our own. Yeah, we don't lean on that stuff.
Yeah, I'll say it like this. I say it like this. A lot of people
the parties were somewhat flipped years ago.
Yeah, but a lot of people, and I think people know that. And it's all about what the parties represent now more than what it used to represent. Yep. But I also think that there's a lot of common philosophies that we as minorities share.
Yeah.
Right, with Republicans.
Correct.
Right. So it's not to say that I'm a Republican. I just don't have a problem voting Republican.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem voting for anyone who falls in line with what where my agenda lies, what I think is important, right? My vote is not beholden to Democrat or Republican. I do take my vote seriously, and I will vote for what I think is better for the majority, right? Not necessarily just what's best for me. I can give you an example of Lil Wayne and 50 Cent, and they talking about, we not rocking with Joe Biden because he planned on taking 60% of our bread. Well, guess what? Y'all sellouts. But guess what? I understand. I wouldn't want 60% of my bread being taken either. But that's not the case, right? That's really not the case. But that's a Fox News talking point.
Let's say this.
And that's something that would never get passed, even if it was.
Let's say this. Let's say whatever the crazy numbers are.
Yeah.
If you are, I just want to understand this. If you are a wealthy, well-off millionaire, but you know where you came from, the mud, and we're gonna go past the mud because half of us came from the dirt. We're gonna do a whole new saying, Steve. It ain't the mud. We ain't come from the mud. We came from the dirt. So that's the mud before the water. Mm-hmm. We came from the dirt. We ain't even had the water.
Yep.
We built this up from the dirt. When you know half of the people that you came from the dirt, and if something like that came into play that can allow your family or your people as a whole to do a little better, and you know no matter what, you still going to be good, isn't that a higher calling? I'm just saying, not saying the numbers were 60, but I'm just saying, isn't that a higher calling? How selfish are we as a people to the point where once a person started looking at our pocket that we're so caught up on this dollar bill that we willing to say, oh shit, you taking 60% of mine. If those were the true numbers, though we know that 60% might be able to help out those that are really still in the slums. How fucked up is that to some degree?
To quote Eddie Murphy, half.
All right, so that note, we're gonna segue somewhere different.
I'm just saying, who wants more than half of their bread taken away from them? Ain't nobody gonna want that.
We gonna go somewhere different.
Half.
I want to talk about this,
Eddie.
So
half.
There's so much tension, racial divide. There is a series out right now, Lovecraft Country.
Okay.
Off the chain. You started watching it, right?
No, I finished it.
Oh my! You finished it.
It's real good. It's real good.
For y'all that haven't viewed, tap in Lovecraft Country. We ain't even getting sponsored by them, but we gotta push this. This series is on
HBO.
HBO. It has a few star-studded cast people in there.
Yep. It has
my boy. What's his name? Williams from The Wire. What's his name?
It has what's her name? Jesse Smollett's sister in it.
Yep. And what's the guy from The Wire?
Michael Williams. Michael K. Williams.
Michael K. Williams. So this series right here, you guys, it deals with magic, monsters, but the whole, let's say the glue to it or the whole undertone is racism. Well, right? Or it goes back into the let me say this. It goes back into those times and it speaks to those that life.
It's a period piece.
A period of time.
So they're in the
I want to say
40s?
that's like the 40s. Yeah, I want to
30s,
say the 40s,
something like that.
The 40s, yeah.
It's set in the 40s, and I could look it up real quick. Yep. I don't even know why we're speculating. But it's set in those times. It starts off in Chicago.
Yeah.
And I would say the glue to the show is the historical events that they go through.
Yeah.
So they're telling this. They're telling a lot of historical story things about this young man who is has come back home from the army. His uncle is a.
Don't give him too much.
No. But I'm just letting you know his uncle is a author. His father is an author. They love to read books. That is their passion. They print a newspaper that it's called the Negro Guide or something like that, where the uncle goes around and travels and maps out the routes, the safe routes for black people to go across the country, and safe havens and places that they can stop and eat and sleep for the night and stuff like that. So he maps that out and he publishes and he updates it on a monthly basis or something to that effect. So there's a lot they go through. That's like the backdrop to the story that they're telling. But they go through a lot of, for us, for black people, different historical events.
But hold on. Besides that, what they also go through from a society standpoint is a lot of social norms now that were taboo or weren't really looked at a particular way. And I'm going to say this from this standpoint. Women having a certain role. They go those dynamics of a woman leading that has more expertise in the area but has to play the back burner because of husband. They go through the homosexuality. And for those that don't know, our guy, what's his name? Mike Williams.
He played another.
Hey,
wait, hold on.
We gotta understand. Hold on.
Time out.
We gotta talk about it. We gotta talk about that.
But that's a spoiler, though. That's a spoiler.
Okay,
that's a spoiler.
It's a spoiler. But the hell with it. The point I'm saying is this.
Yes, he is. He does play. He does
we
play.
Need to talk about this.
He does play another homosexual. Yes.
Audience, we need to know this. Should black men, some of these actors that are established, should they, especially those, we're gonna say all, but should they still be playing these homosexual roles? This is his second one, maybe third. I don't know, but is that a problem with it? My question, is it a problem with black men? Because I've heard people say that black men shouldn't play these, what do they call? What is it? Oh man, they say we shouldn't demasculate ourselves as black men. And then Hollywood is trying to do this. Should black men, established actors especially, no longer take these roles? Or is it the art? That's my question. Because he's doing it again in this. I'm telling you.
So here's how I look at it, right?
Let me know.
Here's how I look at it. I think it's the actor's choice.
True that.
I think it's the actor's choice.
But is it doing something? Is Hollywood? Some people feel there's a conspiracy that Hollywood's doing something.
Yeah, because all of the major comedians had to dress up like women at some point in time and X, Y, and Z. I get that.
But hold on, I got a question. People say the black male, but is it something where it's a lot of just top actors? Because
it's the top actors.
Because John Travolta, he did it.
Yeah, people.
There's a lot of top actors that did it, but people, us as minorities, we always like, the black man.
Because that's what we watch. We watch more. That's what we watch more than anything. So here's how I look at it. Right. Mm-hmm. I think there's a point to be made in a industry where we are not prevalent in that industry. Mm-hmm. Right. There's not a lot of us in the industry.
Yes.
And then the main ones that we talk about, we can always say, yo, he dressed up like a woman. He did this, he did that. So all of the main ones that are stars, the ones that we gravitate to, the ones that we see at some point in time, they dressed up as a woman. Right? So I could understand from that standpoint how somebody might be like, well, yo, why we always got to dress up as women? Mm-hmm. What are they trying to do to the black man? When there's plenty of white actors who do the same thing, right?
So is it an insecurity amongst our society?
But it is, though.
That's the point I was going to get at. Is it just us because of how we think about it?
But they're not wrong.
But listen,
they're not wrong, though. That's the point.
No. What I'm saying is this. I'm not saying they're wrong if the premises that people are trying to do it for a particular way. But what if it's just truthfully just creative and a person embracing the existing society and want to show that as an element hold on. And feel that this particular actor, as great as he is, he can actually pull across this scene to the best.
Because there's a
visibility that's gonna
because there is a history in this country of how they view the black man. Mm-hmm. Right? There's a history, right? And what they do to us. So when you have such a small amount of black men in TV, in film, and these are the ones who ascend to, and then you look back and you say, yo, damn, he dressed up like a woman. He dressed up like a woman. He dressed up like a woman. What imagery is important? What message does that send? Right? Mm-hmm. I'm not arguing whether the message is good or bad. When we say white actors do it too, out of how many?
But there's more of them.
That's my point. If there's 1,000 white male actors and 20 of them dress up as women,
but what I'm saying, but 20
and
at
there's
the top,
and there's 100 male black male actors, and you get the same amount.
But my question is this. Okay, my question is two-part. First one is, what is the number of top white actors that do it? And the second one is this. Does that not still fall on us as people to educate, and not even educate, to have the conversation with our people and our kids? Because when I say it goes other places, we say like this. Yo, if my son and my kids are growing up,
yep,
I'm explaining to them what's Hollywood is, what's acting, what's a job, what's this is, what sports is,
That's
everything
a
what
fact.
it is. What it is. So they're not getting lost, and they're not looking at, oh my God, Michael Williams played the gay guy. Oh my God, no, my kids ain't getting lost that way.
No,
because
absolutely.
So don't a lot of the ownership come on how we actually educate and the conversation we have with our own kids.
How many
that
of us
condition
are,
their mind
how many
for whatever it is?
How many of us are out there to do that though? How many of our
but don't we supposed to though?
No, we supposed to, and it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. And I'm playing devil's advocate here for those who feel like it does matter, right? Mm-hmm. I'm just saying I can understand why they feel like it matters, right? From their standpoint. Me personally, I know the world that my kids are going to grow up in, right? Mm-hmm. So even if, say, for example, I try and make sure I'm aware of things that were instilled in me that don't fit in the world we live in right now, right? I grew up a certain way, right? I grew up a certain way. You're supposed to have manners. You're supposed to have respect, right?
It's respect for elders.
Yup, all those kind of
things.
A lot of these kids don't have that, right?
Don't have it. They don't understand that.
And I'm not saying that doesn't fit for today. My point being is I know there's also some things that I grow up with that I may not necessarily do. Shit, when I was young, I used to get a beating all the time. Martha. You understand what I'm saying? Like
Martha had a belt called the Taste of Honey.
Whether it be
everybody in high school knew about this belt because I wore it to school.
You know what I'm saying? Whether it be my aunt, uncle, grandmother, a mother, father, whatever it was, I know that I've got people around me who are going to discipline me if I get out of line.
Correct.
You understand what I'm saying?
Different community.
Yep.
And that wasn't just family members. That was the next door neighbor.
Right.
You outside, she tearing you up and sending you home, and you get another beating after
right.
that.
So my point being is, do I automatically do the same thing? Mm. Do I turn around with my kids and do exactly the same thing that was acceptable then, but is not necessarily acceptable now? And when I say acceptable now, I'm not talking about a spanking. We ain't get spankings.
We got ass whippings.
You understand what I'm saying? All right. So what I'm saying is
this podcast has the explicit lyrics, content on it, so we're gonna call it like it is.
Yeah, I mean, like when you see like people talk about like, my mother beat me with extension cords, and my mother, you know what I'm saying, my father did this or that and the third. That's kind of what I'm talking about. Do I now bring that around to my kids? So my point being is, depending on who you are, because I'm not saying what's right and what's wrong. What I'm saying is depending on who you are, of the things in your life that made you who you are, right? And are there some things about yourself, right, that have been instilled in you that you don't necessarily want to instill in your own children?
Yes.
Right? And I think every parent feels that way in some shape or form, right? So you try not to steer them in that type of direction. So my point being is that yes, it's our responsibility living in, and that people's choices are their choices. So somebody playing a black actor, playing a black male actor, playing somebody gay on TV, that's not, in today's age, that's not a big deal. But I think they also need to understand why people feel like especially back in the day, why that was a big deal.
Okay, so I got a question for you, Steve.
Yeah.
On that note, oh the hell, I can't remember my password. That brings me somewhere different. So now on the topic of conversation with kids and what we're instilling in the kids.
Yep.
In today's society, in today's climate, there's a different challenge that we face as black men,
Yep.
Hispanic men, minorities
Yep.
in the city, which is different than or different from what a lot of other races face.
Okay.
And I'll give you an example. A few weeks ago, probably a month ago, probably to the day, a month ago, my youngest son comes to me
Yep.
and says to me, "Hey, Dad, remember so-and-so? I played football in high school. He was a kid that got murdered on the South End.
Yep.
Kid that got shot up."
Yep. No
I
names.
said, "Damn." So at this time, I had to have a conversation with my son. He wasn't 21 yet. His birthday just passed. He just turned 21. But at this time, I had a conversation with him. I said, "Hey, this is the time I need to talk to you about what you might start experiencing right now, which is a lot of your friends,
Yep.
classmates, people you grow with, people in your football, basketball teams, dying tragically through murder. You know what I'm saying? You know, getting locked up for murdering someone, but definitely dying through murders, car accidents or whatever, but definitely murders, that whole element, because this is where we come from as in the society where we're at currently." 2 days later, another friend died that he played sports with. Right after I had the conversation. And the reason I had the conversation with him was the first reason to let him know that this will be somewhat of your norm. The second part was I wanted to make sure he didn't internalize it a particular way and shut down, because I've seen people that do that.
Yep.
And that's through people not just being murdered, being shot, every bit of that.
Yep.
And you already know my story, so whatever it is. So I wanted to make sure I had that conversation with him so that he was able to process this stuff and work through it and know how to grieve, but not fall into this mental depression, as we know sometimes a lot of our parents, siblings, and different cousins and friends
You
do.
may not even recognize it.
And not even recognize it. That
Yep.
that mental health that they don't even find out, because we're so much in like a battlefield. You know what I'm saying? That type of, that type of war mentality. So let me finish.
Go
so
ahead.
the point I'm getting at, so I had that conversation with him. Like I said, 2 days later, another friend got murdered. Fast forward, 2 weeks later, my cousin, which is his second cousin, but damn near like big uncle to him,
Yep.
God rest his soul, feel good. He gets murdered,
Yep.
which is just a couple weeks from now. It's like 2 weeks ago, 3
Yep.
weeks ago, whatever it was.
Yep.
He gets murdered. The week after he gets murdered, another one of his football players dies in a tragic car accident. 4 people in the span of 4 weeks almost. So let's take the car accident portion out of it. There's 3 people that were actually murdered. Us as minorities, us as black men, this is what I think a lot of people don't understand, this dynamic, or not dynamic, but what we are sometimes having to actually process, deal with, convey, reiterate, support, and teach our kids that races don't have to go through. A lot of races or cultures don't have to go through explaining to their child at a certain age that a lot of their peers might fall or be subjected to death via being murdered.
Yep.
And to have that conversation to make sure that our kids know how to study the scene, peep the scene, understand when it's time to move, man. This ain't feeling right here. I got to move to the left. I might not even go there because this seemed a little particular way. Oh man, my man died. I gotta grieve, but at the same time, I can't get too far left. My next man died again, but I still gotta keep it pushing. I still gotta make it whatever, and still gotta get it back to some social norm. It's like living with a weight that you gotta carry, but you have to mentally make it light. And this is what we grew up doing. But now, we're as fathers, we have to have these conversations with our son to make sure that they understand how to handle this, and which is to some degree kind of fucked up.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. Yes. Do you feel like you needed to have that conversation because your sons didn't have to grow up like you grew up? Or would you say that when you were younger, you wish somebody had that conversation with you?
Good question. All right, so let me say it this way. I'm going to answer it this way. I felt I had that conversation regardless.
Okay.
Regardless of how they grew up, because they don't have to. My kids, as you know, they have been able. Our kids grew up different than we grew up.
Yep.
And that's what we strived. All the different chambers we went through, all the nonsense we did.
Yep.
We did that to make sure that our kids wouldn't have to live through those struggles, or they'll go through those chambers, as we call them, the 36 chambers, the woo. We do stuff to make sure they didn't go through that. So that part was why we did it. But the reality is that this is society. So the conversation that I had with him was based off of society. First and foremost, I had to have the conversation with him because you live in the United States today with being a young black male, regardless of what you went through or your struggles, or you didn't have to grow up in the hood like your father did and do the things that your father did from all the knucklehead, whatever. You didn't have to do that, but you're still exposed because you're still a young kid that still indirectly grew up in the inner city, you went to the same boys club I went to in the same project I went to.
Yep.
Because you're my son and you're gonna go there. So
do you feel like, I don't mean to cut you, and I can only speak for myself. I have had the similar conversations with my son, but I also understand that some of it is from a fear that because you didn't grow up how I grew up, I'm not sure you can handle it. So I have to make sure you good. So I got to make sure you good.
So you're right. You're right. So a part of it is to make sure he's good because he didn't grow up. But the other part is that I know people that grew up the same way we did grow up.
And still went through it.
That still went through it. That's still stuck. I know people that are still kind of caught up.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Caught up in this because of people that they lost, the things they went through, and how they grieved. They're still kind of wrapped in it. So it was more or less not, hey, you didn't grow up where I grew up. It was more or less, let's baseline this. I don't care where you grew up at.
Yep.
Understand when these things happen, this is society. Whether you grew up in the mud or grew up in the dirt and had to get it from there, or you grew up in this situation, you're connected with these people that it still might happen, and this is how you have to handle it. And to your second part is, no, we didn't have nobody because, as you know, a lot of us, we are our fathers.
Yeah.
We taught each other.
Yeah.
We come from that generation. We those 90 babies, well, not the 90s babies, but the 70, 80 babies that grew up in the 90s that really blazed our own trail, and we became the fathers that we didn't have.
Right.
So we developed that whole blueprint of whatever we're going to do. So part of it was, hey, nobody had this conversation with me. And not that it would have made a difference, because it might not have, because I think our era was different than our parents and grandparents' era. They wasn't shooting each other to this degree.
Yeah.
Our era was that era where it was a whole bunch of this genocide stuff. So I don't even think that, I can't even say that they could have even had that conversation. Another adult male probably wouldn't even be able to have a conversation with us at that time that probably to some degree made sense, because y'all don't get it, because this ain't happening in y'all era. It happened in our era, so we can explain it to our kids.
So we
can
understand
say,
it more.
We get it.
Yeah, that's
we went through that era of drive-by shootings and stick-up kids and all that stuff here. So what y'all going through, we know. Our parents didn't go through that era, so they can't relate the same way. So if that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. And I think there's, I was asking about the fear question, because I think that, like to your point, we're sort of a generation that raised by strong black women, but for the most part had to almost, raised each other in terms of the freedom that we had, right? Mothers working, stuff like that. And, we have a lot of freedom to get into a lot of bullshit. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And those experiences shape you. So, for example, being in a situation where, you could feel like, all right, this ain't right. But that come from experience.
Yeah.
That ain't just a sixth sense that you have. It come from experience, right? So for me, it's always, my kids that don't experience that, they're not around that to experience it. So I worry about him in those type of situations. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when things like this happen, I do want to have that conversation with him to say like, yo, listen, this is how things were for me. And this is how I view certain situations. I want you to view the situations in the same manner. You may not make the same decisions necessarily, but I want you to be able to know how to conduct yourself at a house party, for example, right? I'm in a house party. It's packed. Something pop off. What do I do?
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Do I run with the crowd? What do I do? You get what I'm saying? Little things that that's just a small example that really don't mean anything. But my point being, is that like there's experiences that we come up with. Nothing is worth somebody pull a gun on you. It ain't worth fighting over. Nothing that you got on ain't worth dying for.
What you made me think of something, and we probably gonna set this up for
another
episode.
Yeah,
but
that's a fact.
We definitely got to talk about being comfortable in your own skin. You know what I'm saying?
Be you, they'll adjust.
Being you. You know what I'm saying? Say it again. Be you, they adjust.
Yeah.
Did you say that was somebody's clothing line?
I saw I've seen a t-shirt online. I'm not sure if it's somebody clothing line, but I like the saying.
Okay.
So I've been using it.
So
be you and they'll adjust.
So
that's a fact.
right there. I want to switch topics a little bit.
All right, go ahead.
Because this has popped in my head.
Go ahead.
What the hell is going on with Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion? I ain't heard nothing since then.
I have no clue. My understanding is he shot her, fighting over a gun with somebody else, with some other shorty.
She was jealous.
I have no clue.
So let me say,
to be honest with you, listen.
Hey, this is what I say.
I don't care.
The album, I'm gonna
Tory
say
Lanez album,
banger. I'm gonna say this: the kid is talented.
I only heard one track.
Quarantine.
I only heard one
track.
track.
Is fire.
I only heard one track.
Lyrically fire.
I only heard one track.
Better than some of these vets that's out here right now. But I'm gonna say this:
I only heard one track.
I heard the whole album. It's fire.
I'm on that Buster.
Tory is fire. Oh, your Buster's
I'm on that
flaming
Buster.
them.
I'm on that Buster.
Buster's flaming them. Deeper. Hold on. You guys got to pay attention.
Yeah, I'm showing my age.
So when it comes to this, go to Fat Joe Podcast. Go to Fat Joe. Fat Joe has an interview with Buster. And Buster speaks
Drink Champs does too.
I don't know if they speak on this on Drink Champs. I ain't seen the Drink Champ one yet.
But
Buster
like
speaks
4
on
hours.
each title of each album and how deep that is. If you know your science and your mathematics, definitely go watch that because he's going to speak on it and go back even to places like the Goody Mob when a lot of people don't even understand the jewels and the gems and the science that Buster gave some groups coming up.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna spoil it. Go to Fat Joe. But Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion. Allegedly right now, it was, I'm gonna just tell you, I put together the different conversations. You pull up what you see.
Yeah.
The different conversations that we've heard is that when I put it all together and paste it together to some degree, Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion was doing their thing. To the side, Tory initially was dating one of Megan Thee Stallion girls. Don't quote me on it. I'm telling you the information. I got it. Dating one of Tory Lanez or Megan Thee Stallion girls. She caught COVID-19. She was quarantining. Quarantine. She was quarantining. Megan Thee Stallion and Tory getting up, doing their thing. Boom, we're going to keep it on the hush. Catch no feelings. We're going to keep it Gucci. Fast forward, they go to a party with the girl. He get there, Kylie Jenner, you know what I mean? He throwing the vibes there, bung, bung, bung. Don't get it. The body parts ain't real. Teach his own. But anyway, he jumps in the pool. She catches feelings. They get in the car after. There's a whole big thing that everything come out on the table. Yada, yada, some tussle for the gun. Fire off. This, that, and the third here. She allegedly, from, I think the hairdresser came out and said, she actually might have shot herself and everybody's going to owe Tory Lanez an apology. Don't know. My question is this. The hell with all that, the facts of the story, because we don't know that until it come out.
Yeah.
My thing is this. The album dropped.
Yeah.
During a serious time, right? This is when the verdict came out for Mrs. Taylor.
Okay.
Some people felt that he dropped at the wrong time. You had a lot of people saying prior to that, people was already saying he was guilty. Then he came out to defend himself. They said he dropped at the wrong time. Is there such thing as a wrong time to defend yourself or to be vocal?
When you make it about marketing.
So if it's about marketing, then it's wrong.
He didn't come out and defend himself because he wanted to put an album behind it.
So do you think he came out?
He got to pay for them lawyer bills, I guess.
Hey, there it is.
Hey, listen, everything is a hustle. If put it this way, right? Put it this way. If you know you're innocent, and you're watching everybody come at you sideways.
Like
right?
he said in the song, like one of his songs say that.
Okay. So
I'm innocent. I'm sitting back watching people coming at me. I ain't saying nothing, but yo, when it becomes enough that they assassinate my character, I gotta be vocal now.
But you sitting on something that possibly could net you millions of dollars because you know the truth. You know what the truth is, right?
Yeah.
If you feel like, yo, I know I'm dead right innocent, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna just watch all these fugazi people get to start saying some nonsense.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hear me. Y'all look at me.
You know what I mean?
I'm asking for the bottle opener.
Yeah, see.
We gotta go at the Guinness.
All right. So my point being is it's a smart move marketing wise, right? Even if you're guilty,
No label.
right? Because just by not saying anything, right? Everybody's waiting to hear what you got to say. You know what I'm saying? Think about it. Think about a rap beef, right?
Okay.
Somebody puts out a diss track.
Yeah.
All eyes and ears are on the response now. I'm waiting for the response.
Everybody wants.
You know what I'm saying? Meek Mill.
Hold on, and it's funny that you say that.
Meek Mill, Drake.
Listen,
you know what I'm
it's
saying?
funny
Meek
you
Mill
say
put
that.
something out. Drake. You know what I'm saying? What's his name? Put something out. He waiting now. What's
Isn't
up?
it crazy sometimes the response makes people sway in regards to their opinion?
Yeah,
How good the response is. Sometimes people be like,
absolutely.
oh, that's the truth.
Absolutely.
That sounded fire. So it's the truth.
But that's
when we know, in reality.
But see, that's marketing.
That doesn't always equate.
That's marketing, and that's what like people like Trump are good at. Right? They're good at selling that story.
Back to
right?
Trump trash.
No, I'm just giving the point because, like I said, a lot of people were like, yo, they fall into this. Yeah, Trump has done more for us black people than anybody in X, Y, and Z. Why? Because he touches things that are black.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You touch something that you know is black. So, for example, the prison reform bill that was put together after Obama got out of office, right? And it was put together by Democrats and Republicans, and they want to say Kim Kardashian was like, yo, could you get prison reform done? And then it got done or some nonsense like that. I don't really know. But my point being is he signed it so that he could get your vote. Does it matter why he signed it? No, it doesn't matter why he signed it. Did he sign it and get it through? Yes, he got it through. Did he put forth that bill? No, he didn't. Was that bill given to Obama?
People, you got to do the knowledge.
So
you guys got to educate
so it's
yourself
not,
on
and
what
I didn't mean to make it about Obama.
No. But
so
I'm
my
glad
point
you
being
brought
is,
it
my point is people are quick to be
knowledge.
like, yo, he did this and he did that, or he signed off on it and he did what he did what he was supposed to do, and that's not going to change things. But you got to understand who that man is. So in the same vein, when he's telling you, yo, the good old boys, like, or the Proud Boys or whatever it is, just stand by. And then you watch him now, like, I'm not conceding the election. You get what I'm saying? But you cool with him because he signed prison reform and he funded HBCUs.
Excellent points. And to add on to that, where is your values, your morals and scruples when you do that behind the things you say? But let's bring it somewhere even deeper than that.
Yeah.
This is the same individual that turned around and were ripping kids from their parents. We got, 600 or something? Probably 600 or so kids out there that are still displaced and no longer, they don't know where the parents are. And some of these kids are ages 5 and under. This is the same president that pushed that. There's kids, for y'all that don't understand it, there's Mexican kids
and the
out
narrative,
there and babies
the narrative
that
is that
not they have no way to match them up with their parents.
And if you ask Republicans,
I'm gonna let you speak to that. The second one is the COVID-19.
Yeah.
This is the same president that mishandled that and downplayed it. And when you downplay it, because I think a lot of times we forget about the optics, because a lot of people might not have been directly affected. I have a friend that I grew up with, same street. His sister's actually working in the medical field, brought home COVID to their mother. She passed away.
Yeah.
So my point is, and not in that scenario directly, but when you downplay something from a president's standpoint, and you say it ain't all that, don't wait on Mass December 3rd, it's going to go away like this, and the flu and whatever, it's going to be going tomorrow, and you have people moving a particular way, and on your watch, millions of people are affected. Hundreds of thousands of people died from this.
Yo, but he don't.
How do those people, I'm going to let you answer and go back to the last one. How do you people still look at this guy a particular way when you know that he separated these kids from their parents?
Because they don't care about that.
Umpteen different people have actually died.
They don't care
Do you
about
not see that?
They don't care.
Because
they don't
it didn't
care.
hit home.
No, they don't care. It's.
But a lot of times because the shit didn't hit home.
Yo, I hate to say this, but the fact of the matter is they're uneducated and they're ignorant in a lot of cases, right? So
But
it doesn't matter.
They're not even just undereducated and
No, they're
what
ignorant.
about the humanity of it? No, but let's go deeper than that and let's go past that.
I don't give a shit about
don't
that.
You have to? I'm saying, but doesn't it have to sit somewhere to say, damn?
Maybe for you,
you as a person, don't you look at that as just being that's some fucked up shit? How the hell you gonna look at this guy
do you
and be
think?
like,
do you honestly think?
you realize what he
Do you
did?
honestly-
There's little kids out there right now.
Do you think
under the
they
age of 5
care?
that are, listen, little kids out there under the age of 5 that don't even know who their parents are. This is at the time when you have to bond. There's other little kids out there that lost their parents because behind the guy saying, "Hey, it's okay. It's gonna go away tomorrow." It's crazy. It's mind blowing to me.
They don't care.
Yeah.
They don't look at the Mexicans coming over the border as people.
Yeah, you got a point there.
So what are we actually talking about, right? The people, you've got a whole the evangelists, right? Evangelical community who endorsed Trump knowing everything about him. But as long as he could put a judge up there, it don't matter. Because we're going to get what we want. What does that tell you about them?
What
does that tell you about them? Think about it. I watched a video where Trump sat in front of two pastors or reverends or something to that effect. And they asked him, "What's your favorite Bible verse?" He was like, "Yo, I don't want to get into that." He was like, "That's something personal. I don't really necessarily want to get into that."
grabbing the pussy.
So they was like, well, you know,
That's not a verse, Trump.
he was like, "You don't have a favorite voice?" He was like, "Yeah, I do, but I just don't want to get into that. I just don't want to get into that." So they was like, "Okay, well, what do you prefer? Did you prefer the New Testament or Old Testament?" He's like, "Yo, I like
Trump.
He was like, "I like them equally. I like them equally." He was like, "I've always said that the greatest book ever written was the Bible, and then my book." And this is what I'm talking about.
His book,
right? So, and if you look on their faces when he's talking, they're like, "Yo, nah, son, this ain't it, nah." But you went out and you voted for him. You went out and you endorsed him.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And that's the point. Because at the end of the day, it's not about they can jump up there and talk about morals and stuff all they want. They don't care about that.
no.
They don't care about that. So I
agree.
don't ever look at something like that where it's like, "Yo, why don't they understand?" No, they understand perfectly. You understand what I'm saying? They understand perfectly. The ignorance that I'm talking about that they don't have is the COVID ignorance, right? You being in those crowds and literally believing that you're not gonna catch
spreaders.
it. So let's go back.
Spreaders.
Let's go back and look at something. Not even go back. Look what's happening right now. Mm-hmm. COVID over the last week skyrocketed. Am I the only one?
All the way up.
Am I the only
Fat
one?
Joe said.
Am I the only one that finds it funny that coincides with Election Day? And was it not?
When you say that, expand upon that. What do you mean coincide with Election Day? What are you saying?
So
what
when
is the relation?
when you look at Election Day,
Yeah.
and I believe it started on Election Day, in terms of, or it might have started the day before, but Election Day didn't help it, right? So you got Republicans who are running out to the polls to vote. They're not voting. They're not voting by mail, right? For the most part. And then you have Democrats who are staying at home.
And then you also have the Republicans out there doing what they call, what is it?
Watching.
Yeah,
we'll get to that in a second, right? So now all of a sudden we're getting all of these cases, right?
Yes.
And Texas is exploding, right? Texas is exploding, and we know that's a Republican state run by Republicans, X, Y, and Z. Not only that, now you have Biden and Harris, they win. And Democrats is out in the street celebrating. Yeah, you got on masks, some of you, but you're not social distancing. Y'all in crowds and you're celebrating. What happened to COVID? So now, again, we're out here, or Democrats are out here.
Celebrations is real. People are dancing and celebrating everything.
We out here talking about COVID,
on, but
we out here talking about
kind of close.
We out here talking about COVID
during
right?
the fall season.
But this is the part that gets me. That where the division stays, because somebody watching it, and you have these Republican pundits out here talking about how it's not real. They're only saying this so they could shut the government down and hit whatever agenda they want.
Okay.
Don't believe them. And then now you're out here on the opposite side, Democrats, saying, no, we have to. There's a real health risk. Biden and Harris win, and then you see all the Democrats in the streets celebrating. Now they looking back at it like, wait, hold on, son.
Okay,
come on, son. I thought y'all said this shit was real, though.
I got to stand somewhere different on that. I got to stand somewhere different on that one, right?
Go ahead.
So my thing is this. I hear what you're saying, but from this standpoint, I got to say, when George Floyd took place, right? George Floyd.
Yeah. That goes along with it, too, though.
In the midst of it.
That goes along with it, too, though.
Locally here, I videotaped and I have you guys, I'll share the link if you want to see it. In our community, we had a big march down our capital city, our state. We went a couple different places here. I videotaped a lot of stuff to document the moment.
Yeah.
Ton of people out. And even myself, I had that type of, I had to justify it within myself. I had to say, damn, COVID's going crazy. This is crazy new pandemic. Mind you, that took place during the center when we didn't really know. But hold on, let me finish. We didn't have that much control.
No,
but
say
it was
what
so
you was about
serious.
to say.
My thing is, it was so serious to the point I said, I had to think to myself and say, this worth getting out there and protesting and standing and marching and everything.
So I was there too.
So my thing is this.
But how much did you know at the time?
About COVID?
Yes.
We ain't know a lot.
And
we ran out there on some whatever.
All right, but how much do we know now versus what we knew then? You're
right, but I think the problem is this. You spot on, but I think this is what took place here. I think it was a curve. We knew nothing at that time, and we went like this. Right?
Where we at? We wasn't a bad state at the time.
And we didn't even care. We just ran out there no matter what. It curved. It went here. The numbers started going down. We started getting to some norm. People started opening places back up. People social distance. All these things came into play and seemed good. So then people got to this complacency space where to some degree, we're still here right now.
Mm-hmm.
Cases rise. But it's hard sometimes when you get so comfortable, even when cases rise, because I'm running through the challenge with even my kids, like, y'all got to slow down. The cases rising. They so much caught up in what's been over the last 2 months is some old, hey, this is what it is. We kind of just move like this. But I'm a realist. I'm saying it from this standpoint. That's why I think when election, people are so, oh my God, that they didn't care. And at the same time, it's almost of a norm right now to the point where they're like, man, they kind of adjusted and kind of dealing with it. Not saying that's right.
Son.
Hold on. I'm not saying that's right. I'm just saying this is what I think how white people move the way they move.
So I'm not gonna say it's just white people. We were all out here.
I'm not saying white people at all.
I think
people.
I think the country is divided on COVID. I think they and I think it's been this way from the start. You believe what you want to believe. And when you make choices on a daily basis based on how you feel about COVID, right? For some people, COVID is at the forefront of every decision that they make on a daily base on what they're gonna do daily. And when I go to this, am I gonna go to the store today? Well, you know what I'm saying? I don't really want to go. It's it's that time of the month. It's the first of the month or whatever it is. It's the 15th of the month. I don't want to go to the store when there's mad people in there. So you know what? I'm gonna wait. For other people, it's COVID is not on their mind. I'm just going to wear my mask. Wherever I go, I'm going to just wear my mask. It's whatever. It is what it is. It's not going to stop me. Then you got other people that's like, man, football season got to start. Man, basketball season got to start. And like, it don't matter. We got to play. I don't care. That because they love what they love, they're willing to believe that COVID ain't as bad or put the wool over their own eyes on what's best for COVID right now.
But there's some of them because I'm glad you went there.
And I just want to put this out there real quick. You know what I'm saying? We're sitting across from each other, but we've both been tested.
There it is.
You understand what I'm saying? So you know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. Listen, you know what I'm saying? We both have been tested. You know what I'm saying?
My point is this. I'm glad you went there. So with that being said, you have these college football teams that didn't give a whatever. They still having it. They didn't even practice any social distancing to some degree.
Yep.
People in the stands and what it is. I had a friend that daughter went away to school to one of these major D1 schools.
Yep.
And my son's in a D1 school here that actually called it on the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
Season done. His season is done.
Yep.
Basically, this is a free red shirt season. They still practices and everything, but they didn't go there. A lot of them down south, Alabama.
They like, we ain't having it. We ain't having it. Yeah.
How irresponsible, if you think it is, was that? Or do you feel it's not irresponsible? Because it seems like the money got to keep coming. I took it that way. When some of these schools kept making a push and not even putting any type of NBA style bubble, or even to some degree even thinking about it, because I forgot what NFL player stated this. He said, and he stated this for the NFL as well as college. He said, they should lock, a lot of these stadiums are in these remote areas outside of the city. They should lock down a couple hotels. The team stays in this hotel near their stadium. The next team flies in on this quarantine plane, lands, goes directly to that other hotel, stays in the hotel, plays the game, leave the hotel, and they still do it like a bubble, but to that degree, which they didn't do. Do you feel that's being irresponsible from the NFL and these college teams because they didn't put those protocols in place? And that it was more about the money? What are your thoughts on that? That's my take is that was irresponsible. They should have actually looked to take some type of protocol to not spread this pandemic that we know nothing about, that we're learning more about, that's killing off major people. We got to control it. Or is it became about the money?
Football is a form of control.
Huh?
I think football is a form of control.
You saying? I think speak to it.
I think people are in love with football and they can't live without football. And the people who make money off of football knows that, and they're about their money. And they could give a shit about whether or not there's COVID. They could give a shit on how you feel, how they treat black people. They don't give a shit. And we're gonna have to bleep that out because we want to.
No,
be
we don't. We got explicit. We going ham on this one.
Right.
We ain't got to bleep nothing out.
So my point being is, I watch people as soon as football hit.
Oh,
right.
My bad.
I watch people as soon as football hit. Don't do that. I'm dead serious. Don't do that. So
I'm going somewhere with this. No,
but I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back with it. Don't do that. So I'm gonna back up. People do not. People will again do what they feel doesn't change what their life looks like. Mm-hmm. So people who love football, you take the Kaepernick situation, right? You have to take the Kaepernick situation and you watch what the NFL did to them, but yet we still watched football.
Yeah.
People still they didn't give two shits on what was going on with Kaepernick. Yeah, I'm gonna go out here and protest. Yeah, I'm gonna go boom, 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 boom. But you still watched.
Correct.
There's nothing in the world that could have pulled you away This is where we talk about what is more important.
Where's the sacrifice? Where's the sacrifice
I
at?
watch. Why is it a sacrifice?
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, because I love basketball.
So hold on. So
I love basketball.
So I know you didn't even watch that season last year.
I ain't watched this season.
So
I haven't watched football. I haven't watched football in a minute.
You took a stand in regards to not watching.
And I'm very aware that because I'm more of a basketball player, it was easier for me to make that decision.
So for me, I took a stand last year.
Yep.
I watched this year.
Yep.
Part of the reason because I had,
Yep.
Little Dex. I have a son that plays.
Yep. Nope. I get it.
So I know his passion. So for me, from taking a stand last year was like, yeah, that was the movement. But at the same time, it was a little bit deeper because my son plays it. So I have to, for me, I felt like I'm still engaged with him on that and I understand his passion. So it was
No,
and I
get it.
for more from the NFL. My problem was I look for more from the NFL and from the college football like the NBA were doing. I wanted, and that's why I was upset. I watched, but at the same time, I was bothered because I seen the lack there of that.
What would college football do if every black athlete decided to go to a HBCU? Well, that's another discussion for another day.
We got to put that
right. That's
so
another
with that,
discussion.
we're gonna segue off of that.
So hold on, but I want to answer your question about college football.
Yep.
College football. No, they're wrong. Right. They're about the money grab. Right.
Yeah.
You had some college teams that were ready to defect from their conferences just so that they could play, even though you have a 52-man roster, and your state is COVID rampant.
Yeah.
You're irresponsible just so you could and as soon as you could get the okay to put a couple butts in the seats, you did it. But you want that TV money, you want that cable money. Everybody's involved.
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted.
Isn't it crazy because they also wanted the stadium fan money. To the point they even wanted butts in the seats.
That is the point.
They wanted every dollar.
They want every dollar because they make
every dollar on the
crazy amounts of money off of it. In this country, people cannot live without football. I've seen it. Yeah. I look at grown men that's like, yo. I watch them on one end. Yo, I love Kaepernick and yo, we gotta make sure we COVID, we gotta lock shit down. And as soon as football start, football season coming around, man, I hope they have the season, son. Like, yo, I hope, you know what I'm saying? You expect them to figure it out because you don't know what to do with yourself on a Sunday. And you don't know what to do yourself when you can't bet on a game, or you can't play fantasy football, or you don't know what to do with yourself throughout the year. It's a part of your life, and I'm not knocking it, but it's a part of your life, and it's when somebody's threatening to take a part of your life away, you gonna fight against it.
So two things. First one is, I'll let you answer this first. Are people somewhat too consumed in regards to the content that they too consume? And that's gonna go somewhere else. I'm gonna hold that right there. Answer that second. The first one is this, because I love that. So, when they so tied up into this, right?
Yep.
That they can't let it go because this is what they whatever.
Yeah.
Does that show also that where your morals and your scruples and your values are?
To an extent. And again, shit, I'm not no expert. I'm just giving my opinion. I think there's something to be said for. I don't want to blanket that, right?
All right.
Because, and the reason why I don't want to blanket it is because, and I said it in a general way in terms of people, in terms of what you care about.
Before you answer that,
but I would have to hear an individual's reasoning behind why they decide to do something.
I'm it out to another topic.
Yep. Throw me that.
Social media.
Yep.
Content that we consume.
Yep.
Because this is a segue into that. Because like you said, people are torn. They hear, but when it comes to that, they got to still see it. Are we as a people too attached to social media? Are we too? And when I say this, think about this. How many hours a day do some people spend on social media? I know myself working. I've managed people in IT departments, right? You know, from a background. Yep. And I know already with what I see on social media sometimes and how often I see people on there posting and what they actually do, I know if you were working for me, I'm gonna let you go or I won't hire you because in a 8-hour day, you tend to be on social media based off of what I say, on average, at a minimum, 15 minutes per hour. How unproductive are you? And is it that sometimes we're so engaged in what we consume that it dictates how we move?
So if somebody took your cell phone away from you, if somebody say, yo, all right, put it this way. Your cell phone ever die somewhere in a place where you like,
what?
Shit, I need a charger. Like, what's up?
What?
I need
you go to crackheads on the streets like, yo. But it's real though. You want my car keys?
Yo,
you got a charge?
Yo, that's real though. You ever see somebody really like without their cell phone? They can't live without their cell phone.
Yo,
their cell phone is their life. I know, I know right now. What? Like, if you take my cell phone, it depends. My phone right there. If it depends. If I'm at work and I forget my headphones, I'm on my way to work and I forgot my headphones at home.
You going back?
I'm going back to get my headphones.
I'm be late today.
I'm going back to get my headphones.
Listen.
Because when I'm knee deep working, I like to listen to my music.
No, but see,
I'm
in
my zone.
I look at it as being different. So to me, that's different, right? Let me see. I'm talking from this standpoint. I was somewhere, right? And I seen this young girl.
Yeah.
True story. It is almost like, for those Charlie Brown, Linus, the blanket, this is how she was. And I've heard, and I talked to somebody else and they said, yo, I do the same thing. It was a function we were at. She was like this. And wasn't too young. When I say young, I'm saying in the 20s, right? Yep. This is what it was. It's almost like it's like a cigarette or whatever it is. She had to every 2 seconds look at it.
It's instant gratification.
But no, it's like it's attached to her. To the point where no matter what,
it's attention span.
I've sat there and watched people and see how many people just always have their phone in their hand that they got to look up 2 seconds and look at their phone no matter what it is. They have to look and flip through something 2 seconds.
That's social media.
But no, my point is this, but it's also a conditioning. When you do it so much in social media, consume so much, it becomes part of your lifestyle it's a habit. It's almost like
you can't pay attention.
I do this, I do that, and I gotta look here.
You can't
I do this, do that, and I gotta look here. Ain't that are we in the Matrix? Is this what the Matrix was? The movie The Matrix. This is what this was.
But here's what it is.
Yo, we took the pill. Y'all better wake up. We in the Matrix.
You got your phone, right? You're looking at your phone.
It's the
right?
Matrix.
Hold on.
That's the Matrix.
Okay, so you're looking at your phone, right? You looking at your phone. Boom, you put it down.
I gotta play a song to that.
Right, and then, man, if you don't take that banjo ass shit, that's supposed to be electric guitar. That's supposed to be electric guitar, and that shit sound like a banjo. All right, yo, see, this is what I be talking about, son. Son, see, this is what I be talking about.
Unplugged from the Matrix.
This is what I be talking about. At least put on a scarf like Jimi Hendrix. Yo, how you
unplug from the Matrix?
You want them to unplug? You can't tell them to unplug. How they right now they watching it on their devices. They watching this on their devices right now. You think this is on their TV? You just told them to turn this off.
Stay tuned to the Matrix. They be watching All Shapes and Sizes. Stay tuned to the Matrix.
So, again, like you got your phone. It's not just that; it's attention span, right?
Okay, yeah.
So you're at if something is holding your attention, okay, cool. But that's why I say it's different from cell phone to actual social media, because some people can't go 5 minutes without looking to see if they got a like or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But then you got other people who, like, I just need to be in my phone playing a game or something like that. That's more attention span, right? You might be listening to somebody give you on a conference call and you at your desk and you're on a conference call and they're talking, but you're not involved in what's being talked about, what you doing? You listening?
I'm not knocking those
or you
people.
on the phone?
I'm not knocking those
Are you
people.
listening or are you on your phone?
Shout out to all the people that listen to the boring conversation.
Man,
and be like,
listen here. You
let
in
me
that
go do this shit.
you in their WebEx meeting and they ain't got nothing to do with you, but you supposed to be in that meeting because you got invited, but you ain't got nothing to presentate.
I'm coming on third.
You already know. Are you listening?
So I'm
you
not
know what the
knocking
agenda
those.
is, especially if there's an agenda and you know, like, okay, this is a part I gotta listen to. This part ain't got nothing to do with me.
So you know what?
Let's be
so
real.
I'm not knocking that part because that becomes the new way. I'm talking about those that are engaged where every so often they have to be on a social media platform, the Instagrams, the Facebook, the Snapchats, the TikToks, the Twitters. I'm talking about those people that feel that they have to go there to the point where, and this is a true story. I've had people work for me, and I know their productivity from their work, the lack thereof, is due to how many times they're on here. And whether you people realize it or not, yes, your employees do be looking at this. Not all, but some of us, we pay attention. If you friend me on this,
that's a fact.
I'm gonna see where stuff go green and how often you post and what you comment on.
That's a fact.
I'm gonna pay attention to that. So we do this.
Yeah, don't be social media friends with the people that you co-workers and management and all that. None of that.
This tells a story.
Yo.
And also, that goes somewhere different. You young kids.
LinkedIn too.
Hold on. You young college kids. And you guys are getting into this corporate America. Truly understand what you do, what you post, your content, what you show.
That's important.
That's important because anybody can actually get part of this. And I don't care how you want to look at it. Say they shouldn't be judging me. They shouldn't be looking at my social media. A whole bunch of stuff shouldn't happen. The reality, it does happen.
They do.
Because I know, because I've been in that situation before.
When you are a hiring manager,
man, listen.
When you are a hiring manager,
you might show some stuff on here that you gave me a window into that I'd be like, ugh. I don't know if this is the same person we want on the team because they too far left.
I knew.
Just be honest. I knew this is the reality of it.
I knew somebody that I used to
college kids
used to work with that
get into the space
that had vodka in their Sprite cup every day.
There it is. Hold on.
Every day.
I gotta go somewhere. What about the people that turn around and they post on social media something that just took place at work or something they doing or they leaving work or they skipping work or they ain't doing this or this, that, and third here or what took place at work or what about their manager, their boss? The people that really share too much goddamn content on social media about their job. Mind blowing to me. I'd be like, yo.
I thought them days was over.
No, I seen a post the
other day. Remember when people first got on Facebook and all them type of social medias? I just got out the bathroom.
This is back to Black Planet. MySpace.
I'm drinking coffee right now. I just had a nice coffee.
I ain't go to work.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm working from home and I'm just wiggling my mouth.
You know what I'm saying? I just put my socks on. You know what I'm saying?
I post on social media, I'm wiggling my mouth.
Yeah, all that nonsense.
But real talk. How not even disconnected, how do people get so caught up into the space that they're not even understanding the content that they're putting on social media and how that can come back to them on the back end?
Because they're not there yet. You got to understand. I was discussing with my daughter. I started with my sister, but I was discussing it with my daughter yesterday, and my sister was like, "Do you realize you're a millennial?" And I said, "Nah, I'm not a millennial." She said, "Yes, you are. You were born. When you were born, decides whether or not you're a millennial or not." And I was like, "Nah. In my opinion, you're a millennial if you don't know what life was like without the internet."
Well, I like that.
Right?
I like that. It's a mentality. It's
if you don't know what call waiting is, right? Or you don't know you can't get on the phone.
Y'all see this right here?
Yeah, you don't know what a rotary phone is or
hey,
and
these are
my daughter was like,
these are my back in the day trap phones. These ain't trap. We call gate phones.
You understand
what we call these back in the day? I forgot what we called these. What we call these phones?
Yeah, you got a lot of them.
Free phone. Oh,
yeah,
we had free.
Prepaid. It was prepaid.
Free phones. This is Oh, this is a whole nother era.
Yeah.
This was back when we was with the bullshit.
I don't think people realize, like, especially our generation. We grew up. Growing up, there were leaps and bounds in technology that you don't get today. right?
Two-way pages. An
You
example of that.
You don't get
Leaps
today.
and bounds.
Right? We
Two-way pages.
in a span of
Palm trios.
in a span of 20 years, in a span of not even a span of 20 years, in a span of in a span of 20 years, you go from not having any internet to having dial-up, learning about what email is, having like America Online, having Sky Pages, having having beepers, having Sky Pages, having cell phones, StarTax, big old cell phones.
Oh man, the big army joints.
Yeah. So my point being is
the 90s was crazy.
We there was such an acceleration, and there was such a that we understand what times were like before that, and we understand how perception is. So if you grow up in nothing but having technology, and all your life, since the moment you had technology, the moment you had a cell phone, you had a cell phone since you was 8 years old, and you done been on social media since you was 10, 11, 12 years old. You're always sharing. You're always oversharing. This is your world. So when somebody tells you, nah, son, you can't put that on your social media because the people who you trying to get a job from, they're looking at you like, but I don't know how to use it any other way. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That's a good point. You know what? I never thought about that.
But they've also created whole industries out of it.
But you know what? It's funny that you say that because I never thought about that. I've always been on the side of just saying, yo, you got to control what you put on there. You can't do this and third. But I didn't think about it that some of these kids, our kids that grow up, they grew up in this being what it is to some degree when they became conscious of it.
Right.
A lot of our older kids.
Right.
Yeah, social media wasn't to this degree but when they became in junior high and high school, it was these platforms were there, so they knew them to be the norm, and they used them a particular way. As they got older, they used them the same way, so they don't know the difference from us saying, "Yo, you shouldn't do that on there," because this is here. They like everybody's on here, every company's on here, every person's on here, every friend's on here, everything is on here.
Can a child born in 1999, late 90s? Early 2000s, can a child born in that time really understand the significance of Barack Obama becoming president?
No.
Exactly.
That's a good point.
So like, yo, I've never
thought about that.
I've never not known there's always been cell phones. There's always been MacBook laptops. There's always been this stuff.
So when we talk to our kids and to these youth about a black president.
Yeah.
You brought a good point up. They didn't live through white president, white president, white president, white president, white president. They lived through white president, black VP. For them, this is almost like, to some degree, until we explain them their history,
they can understand. They can
because
understand
remember,
it.
Black history's been moved out a lot.
Yep.
Of these schools. This is no longer even a study that's taught.
Yep.
So for a lot of them, they like black president, white black VP. They don't even understand the importance of it to even be proactive enough to stand for something because
when you meet a young,
the history ain't even out there to let them know that this ain't even the norm. You gotta fight for this.
So when you meet a young,
I'm glad you brought it.
When you meet a young black person and they're a Trump supporter, don't be mad at him.
So there's a guy. I'm gonna try to have him on the podcast. I have his information. Young guy. And the ironic thing, this is a young guy that's West Indian, family from the West Indies. I think he might have been born here. Could have been born there. Came here young, but I think he was born here. Family from the West Indies.
West Indians are Republican. They just don't know it.
I met this kid at the gas station.
Challenge me on that. Challenge me on that. So yeah, I'm saying put it in the comments. Tell me I'm wrong. West Indians.
So let me say this. I seen this kid.
Are Republicans? They just don't know it.
I seen this kid at the gas station.
Yeah.
He got a "Make America Great Again" hat on.
Yeah.
Dreads. Skinny young. I think he was Trinidadian Jamaican. So I'm like, yo, why you got that hat on? You know what I'm saying? I was bold. I was like, yo, hey, can I ask you why you got that hat on? He said, I'm glad you asked. You know what I'm saying? I'm a Trump supporter, yada, yada, yada. He started giving me the whole spiel. We sat there and, debated, nice little friendly debate for like about, no lie, like 45 minutes at the gas station. You know me, I love to engage in that. And once again, we are people that, we don't care what side of the party you are on or where you fall. We want the conversation. We want to understand your viewpoints and what stimulates your viewpoints and what brings you there. So me and this guy got into it. I got his information, so I'm definitely going to try to reach out to him and have him on one of these things here to, give his side from a Republican Trump supporter standpoint. But it was shocking being a West Indian. And when I say that, I say it from this standpoint. A lot of times West Indians come from harsh. We know the islands are where they went to basically break down slaves before sending them to America, right?
Mm-hmm.
For the most part. So when you see sometimes somebody from the islands and knowing what their parents and this and third here, you kind of don't understand when they fall at. His thing was this. Yo, my parents came here to America. They did this. They created their own business. They did this and third here. I said, I got all that. I don't know how people don't do this. He even said to me, hey, people that be in here and they be in the hood and this go through and they get all caught up in this here and they don't whatever and stuff happen. They don't know how to get past it. So I had to bring him places because the conversation went somewhere in regards to people not getting past something. And I forgot how we talked about how people going through tragedies, something being shot and stuff like that. So he didn't know my story.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to explain to him and say, yo, I've been in that spot right there. I've been shot before. I handled it differently and it didn't break me down. I didn't grieve a particular way of getting whatever. I'm a realist and like, shit, I'm on some goddamn Cameron. Dudes get shot every day, B.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Get shot in the hood every day, B.
Yeah.
So that was my mentality because that's where we came from. The hood we came from, the project, all the stuff here is what I knew. So I kind of like, man, soon as it's going to hit home, me and one of my cousins, somebody going to get shot. One of my boys, whatever. But I had to tell him this. I said, but though I understand that and that's where I'm at, I'm humble and I empathize with those that can't handle it that way. Because I know how it was when I went through it. I'm built differently, so I handle it this way. But I can see how easy it is for a person to kind of be like, yo, it changes your world. Especially when you in the situation that I was in, not going to live or die and this, that, and all that other crazy stuff here. And then you got to kind of adjust after.
Yeah.
It's deep. But he didn't understand that. I told him, I said, yo, you passing judgment on something you know nothing about. So when you start talking about certain things that you don't know and you only know from this standpoint of what you did or what your family did, don't get it twisted until you came from the dirt and been in those situations. Sometimes you can't pass judgment unless you've been through them chambers. And that's why I had to explain to him, I said, I get your viewpoint and what you might think. And not even saying what you're thinking is wrong, but until sometimes you walk in those shoes or go through those chambers, you can't pass judgment.
That's a fact.
You can have your thing here, but you can't pass judgment. Sometimes you got to sit back there and listen to people that been through those, that they might have went left or right, but they got they can pass judgment because they walk that walk. So you can't tell them how they should handle something if you never walk that walk.
I would say this.
And even still, then you still can't.
I would say this. Life ain't easy in Jamaica. By no means. Right? So a lot of times what happens is it builds a work ethic in you. That regardless of that work ethic, you may not be able to rise to where you feel like you need to be in
So
Jamaica.
when you say that, are you saying, and I say work ethic, I'm just saying this for this. My grandfather from Jamaica. Well, he worked 24/7. My stepfather worked many jobs here. So we know, as a lot of men in the islands do, like, I mean, caveat, I'm going to say this. Back in the day, older West Indian men about working and really earning it, because as we know, older West Indian men don't like the new young West Indian men that want to just straight run to the street and hustle. They'd be like talking down. I'm like, yo, that they ain't, yo, you about working for something, they about hustling. So I'm saying, are you saying that mentality to you got to work for whatever you want, no matter what?
I think it's a hustle mentality. I don't think there's I honestly don't think it's a difference in the mentality other than how you go about it. But
we know there's a difference though.
Well, because
you talk to older West Indian men, you know I talk to Henry.
They don't like
the young dude.
They don't like what
feel like you ain't.
They don't like how you
to do it.
They don't like how you're going about it
because they feel you're taking the easy way.
The mentality is the mentality. That's how I look at it. How hard you working is not an indication of how much you're working, right? So the older,
because we're gonna talk to the deportees. We're gonna go back there with it. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna bring this whole thing circle.
So you coming into this country willing to work hard labor 15, 16 hours a day, right? You're willing to do that. Where somebody else might be willing to say, yo, I'm willing to put in 15, 16 hours a day, but I ain't picking tobacco. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I'm not working in the tobacco fields. I'm out here in these streets trying to get this money.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And I'm willing to be out here 15 hours a day selling nickel bags to get my bread. You get what I'm saying? I'm saying the work ethic is not different. How you go about it might be different. Okay. And how that person who's willing to work in the tobacco field views you, think you may be taking the easy way out. But my point is,
once again, I want to take this time to say, subscribe to the All Shapes and Sizes podcast. Follow us, give us likes, comments.
That's a fact.
Please share. Pass it on. We definitely want to tweak this and basically gear it towards the consumers. Give you guys what you want, topics, conversations, you name it. This is for you guys, all shapes and sizes.
Yo, when you're willing to come in here, when you're willing to work as hard as a lot of West Indians are willing to work, and you come to this country and realize that level of work ethic will benefit you more here than it would back at home.
Okay.
And then you look at somebody your own color and you say, well, you're not willing, you your own color, and you say, well, why aren't you taking up the same advantages that we are? What is not understood is you only have those advantages because of the current black people, what they have gone through in this country.
There it is.
Right?
There it
so
is.
there's
Pay
the
attention to that. Understand
there's
the
a
chambers that people.
There's
I'm
a disconnect,
that
right? So
I've had that debate with people saying,
right, so
in America, and I had to explain to them, you understand what people in America went through and what they go through. So sometimes people get to this, like I had this conversation with, and I don't mean to cut you off.
Yep.
I had the same conversation with people saying, when Asian people come here, they do this. When Indian people come to America, they do this. Why Americans can't do this? And I had to have them say, take 2 seconds back. This is a different topic. The topic is talking about understanding.
You're undercutting
the racism, the systemic racism, every oppression that black Americans in America have to and had faced through umpteen years. So when you turn around and say that, well, all these other people come here and become successful, understand this. You have people that have lived in a system that no matter what they did, from being enslaved to after slavery to Jim Crow to, to when you have the Black Wall Street being burnt down, no matter what they've been oppressed and broken down to, when you break the spirit and you break the people as a whole, every time they think like they're getting out of something, you break them down constantly in systemic racism, and you pile that on and pile that on and pile that on. So many different layers that those people are here. And those people coming from China with nothing, it's easy for them to go here. People come from India, nothing, it's easy to go here. The same way that if there was a, let's say, crazy opportunity in Africa, and all black people like, shit, we going to Africa, trust me and believe, we be going to Africa on some different, we be the first ones on the plane like, when we go to Africa, we're going to turn up. And I think people don't understand that, is that, if we were here and there was crazy opportunity and the place to be was Africa, how many black Americans would get up and go to Africa on some different energy? But when you're in the pot, that you've been oppressed in the pot and broken down in the pot, and you're constantly sitting in the pot, that to the point that some of us even psychologically break ourselves down and feed that to our kids and pass it on to the next generation in that same pot, it's hard to get out of that, because now what you did was what they wanted to do. When you break a person mentally or people mentally, but you really got them. I'm not saying that's an excuse. What I'm saying is
I'm not saying that's an excuse at all.
Understanding that people don't understand sometimes when they come from other places is that you're dealing with the people that have been broken down and constantly broken down. And the pressure's been on them.
Yeah, but I think that's immediately recognized. That's
not
the
by
point.
all.
No, so hear what I'm saying. It's recognized, but it's not identified correctly. Mm-hmm. It's identified as maybe something that is lazy.
No, just move that out the way. Move that bag out the way. No, out the way from there too. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Continue on.
So I think it's identified incorrectly, right? So what somebody might see as like a West Indian person might come here and say, yo, the black people here are lazy, right? Or the Africans might come here and say, yo, the black people here are lazy, or X, Y, and Z. The reason why they feel that way is because there's a way more opportunity for them here
Correct.
than where they're coming from.
Correct.
Right? And they're able to and they see ways of taking advantage of it. Whereas to your point, people may not feel like those opportunities are there for them. Right? So systemically they're broken down, and college, there's no way that's not for me, right? My mother didn't go to college, my father didn't go to college, nobody I know went to college, X, Y, and Z. And then somebody actually looking for something better and that's willing to educate themselves on how to do that, because I grew up in a zinc fence house. You understand what I'm saying? Like dirt floors. Like, you understand what I'm saying? And then I come here and I see like, you're living off of, and this is not a generalization, I'm just making an example. I see here that you're taking advantage of Section 8. Yeah. I see that you're taking advantage of the welfare system. I see you're taking advantage of WIC. I see you hustling here on the side, but on you know what I'm saying? And you might be selling your little weed over here, or you might be selling, and you're making bread off of that. But on the books, you understand what I'm saying? You're getting state assistance for this and you're getting state assistance for that. Let's not act like that ain't something real. Let's not act like that wasn't a hustle for a lot of people. You understand what I'm saying? Because it made more sense. They made more money off of the state than they did getting a 9 to 5. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? That's real. Is that everybody? Absolutely not. But it is some of the examples that you see when you come here. You understand what I'm saying? It is something that you see and you're like, oh, okay, well, like that is not what I came here for. I came here to do X, Y, and Z. I didn't come here to live off of the state. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? So it's a pride thing. Whereas that's not the majority of black people in this country.
Correct.
You understand what I'm saying? It's not the majority of the black people in this country. But to your point, when you come here and you see these examples, and I'll give an example to where we live. There's tobacco fields here.
Oh, yeah.
Right? There's tobacco fields here. You're a black person working the tobacco fields, and you stop working the tobacco fields because they not paying. They not paying. And you're like, y'all want us to work this? Y'all got to pay us $8 an hour, but y'all only paying $6 an hour or $5 an hour. Like, y'all don't pay enough. I can go over here and do something else or whatever it is. And then somebody else comes into this country who's been living off of $3 an hour.
No,
you understand what I'm saying? Growing their own food, and they're saying, oh, you're going to pay me $6 an hour to work in the tobacco field? Yeah, I'll do that. And then the black person who's sitting there is like, yo, bro, like, we're black. Like, don't undercut me.
Yeah.
But he's like, I got a family to feed. I can't worry about whether or not you trying to get $8 an hour. I can make this $6 an hour work. I can make this $5 work for me and mine. You understand what I'm saying? And I could bring my whole family. You know what I could do with $6 an hour? You understand what I'm saying? It's the undercut. It's the same thing. It's the same thing with any immigrants that come into this country. All these white people are sitting out here talking about like, they don't want Mexicans to come in because they taking jobs away from you. Jobs that you refuse to work.
There it is.
You're refusing. You don't want to work these jobs. You don't want the jobs. You don't want to cut grass. You don't want to pick strawberries. You don't want to do housekeeping. You don't want to take care of nobody's kids. You don't want to, all these jobs that a lot of immigrants come to this country and they take on because it'll help them survive. You understand what I'm saying? And it allows them to live a life and make a better life for their family. They're willing to take 2 or 3 jobs. Remember the big joke? Jamaicans always got 6, 7 jobs. They always got
jobs, 3 jobs.
You understand what I'm saying? Well, it's because they're willing to take the less pay. There's so many hours in the day. You know what? I could work a part-time job here, a part-time job here. I could do this at night. I could go to school in the morning or go to school at night. Like, I'm going to make the most of my time. So when I look over at you and I say, you lazy, you could understand why they feel that way. But they also, you can understand also that they're not recognizing that the opportunities that you have to have 5 jobs or 6 jobs or go to school or whatever it is something that the black people in this country have fought for. They fought for that. They fought for that benefit. And you are benefiting from it. So before you quick to call them lazy, show respect to the people who afforded you that opportunity.
Deep.
You understand what I'm saying? And at the same time, Black America recognize that people are coming in here and they're working harder at you. Don't be mad for that. Don't be mad because they're doing that. Don't be mad at them because they're willing to take on jobs that you're not willing to take on. Don't be mad at them because they're willing to hustle and get this done. And you have a sense of, no, my time is worth more than that. That's cool. But don't be mad at somebody else who says, yo, okay, I'll do it for that. I'll do it for that amount of money. I'll do it for that. You know what I'm saying? I'll be a nurse and I'll clean. I'll work in an old folks home cleaning up feces and stuff like that. I'll do that. I'm willing to do that. Where you're not willing to do that. Like I can't be. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't. There's arguments on both sides, but you gotta be real about it.
Yep. So you guys, at this time I want to tie it up. You know, we went a while on this one right here. This is our first one, episode 1. A lot of different things. We kind of, as you guys know, we told you all shapes and sizes. By the title in itself, you know, we're touching on any and everything. Nothing's off the table. We'll definitely have some people tapping in on the Zoom on some of our future episodes. People chiming in. We're definitely going to take feedback from what we receive in the comments. Definitely, you know, like and subscribe to All Shapes and Sizes. The actual on YouTube. Look for All Shapes and Sizes on YouTube. On social media, I am Disco Deck on Instagram, Facebook Dexter Lawson. Definitely reach out on the Instagram platform Disco DISCO DEX on Instagram. My co-host partner
S_TV or The Real Rock Will. That's on Instagram. Check us out. Check out All Shapes and Sizes podcast. Also on Instagram. You'll see all the links and stuff.
You'll see all the links
as we get through it. Please again, like, comment, subscribe. And hit that notification button. If you like our content, you'll be the first one to get it. You hit that notification. This is the first one of many. So look out for what we got coming.
And what I'll say too is if you feel like when you want to donate and you love the content, we'll also have a Cash App out there, All Shapes and Sizes. Hey, we're taking donations. We want to keep this stuff pushing.
That's a fact.
Definitely will.
We got interviews coming.
We got things lined up. You're going to roll with us, as you guys already seen in this episode. The car ride, you see what we do, how we do with the car ride episode. For episode 1, you guys seen a portion of that. We got more content like that coming. We're gonna keep it live, fresh, and you know what I mean, entertaining. Anything else you want to say, Stop?
No, that's it, man. I'm not wearing no wigs. I'm not playing no freaking guitars.
Listen.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, you got me feeling like I got put on blackface up here. I'm not doing it.
We ain't doing no blackface. But we're going to keep it entertaining. Once again.
Nah, son.
Crazy Alien Fruit Entertainment. Yeah. I'm going to plug my entertainment company.
Yeah, no, we going to have fun.
Crazy Alien Fruit Entertainment. We going to have fun.
Yo, we just had a discussion. Nah, son. I'm not doing it, son. I'm not doing it.
Once again.
I'm reluctant.
Shout out to all our supporters. Once again, stay
tuned. That's a fact.
We'll push this content out weekly, as you guys know. Stay tuned for the future.
It's a fact. Signing out.
We rocking now, baby.